as I sit there and watch Dancing with the Stars with my parents, because that's when it's on, that's what we watch.
Uh-huh.
I've always wanted some of those samba pants with the little tassels, because you can get a samba skirt, you can get but they have pants and the tassels like hang down all down the pants. And every time I thought, my gosh, that would be fun, but not thinking I'd wear them out and about. Just I love the samba pants. If I were to do a samba, that's what I want with the tassels. Guess what I got for Christmas from my parents? Because I mentioned I love the samba tassel pants.
Damn it! Now I can't get you some.
I have some black. My mom was going to go with a different color, but she thought they're already crazy. We don't need some bright colors. So she went with black. They fit fantastically. Willow Sage loves to try to bite my pants.
Chompy, chompy.
But they're great. I have black samba pants with the tassels. I love them. I don't know where to wear them. I wear them around the house and kind of do a little dance, because I dance around my house usually, but
on
yeah.
your birthday, Lil. You can go out in public.
They're fantastic. So I might need to do an actual little dance short with my samba pants.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
Because if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine.
If I represent, yo.
I was gonna write you an email, but I'm a little drunk, and spelling is a sober person's game. So I feel I owe you a splanation. I'm sorry. A splanation.
Welcome back, our hellions, our agents, our viewers. I am X7. You're well into Agent of Awesome at this point in time. With me, as always, is the wonderful and ever so patient Lilith Draco.
Hi, welcome back. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave us a comment. This is going to get nerdy, so leave us your nerdy comments.
They see me mow in my front lawn. I know that they're thinking I'm too white and nerdy, just too white and nerdy. And I can't rap like Weird Al.
Hey, but at least we're color coordinated.
We are. Well, yes.
And we didn't even plan this one.
And this is the emissary from hell, the Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah, I just have a red shirt with this lady on it.
Nice glasses.
Yeah, I know, right?
I've often thought so. So, Lil, what are you drinking tonight?
I am coming in strong with another Humber Bus IPA.
Poomber? When did you become?
Whatever.
When did you come from Maine? Or
Humba IPA.
I've called
It's
Poomber.
fine. It's whatever I've drank in the last few episodes. We're getting through it. I bought a 4-pack. Again, it's fine.
Wasn't
I
he
hate my
Jack-
liquor store, is
Didn't
what
they
it
sing-
really comes down to.
Didn't they sing Pumbaa Makata Batata in some
Humba Bacata.
I have another Fremont. I had this a couple episodes ago.
Nice.
It's a walnut, and it's a barrel-aged cuvee, which is kind of it's a kind of stout. It's hazelnut and vanilla, which is I like hazelnut, and it's not overpowering. It's not too sweet, but it's at 11.8%.
Nice. You're going to win tonight.
I'm gonna win, which is just fine. It's really good. Actually, it's quite good. But I got two of these because they were $1.99, and when you can get a
Oh, nice.
I mean, get 11.8% stealth for $2. You buy it.
Yeah.
I'll get back on you. I'll get back to you with the s'more stealth that I bought for the same price, and that might be too sweet because marshmallow.
All right.
So,
Shall we get into some tarot?
oh yes, yes.
Horror. Terror.
Don't draw the ace.
Horror.
Don't draw the ace of wands again. He's tired.
Oh, it's on my already done pile. We're not going to get to the Ace of Wands until you pull your Ace of Wands. Right on camera here. For all of us to witness. Okay, so we are doing
I'll
the
get
Four
arrested
of
for that.
Pentacles.
The four of who'sicles?
Pentacles. Four
Okay.
of Pentacles.
I like that. I like whatever that's supposed to be on the top of the card.
12-pointed star. I had to count a few times because I'm awesome. Four of Pentacles. But look at that. Look at that guy. Well, that's just...
Look at that noggin. Look at the noggin on that guy.
Look at his hairline and his hairstyle. That's a creepy dude right there.
Yeah, but his head's huge.
And that's probably the top of his skull right there.
It's a virtual planetoid.
Okay, Four of Pentacles. As I search for this, please talk amongst yourselves.
Here's the kitty four of pentacles.
Nice.
I'm assuming she's just sitting on three of them because they've tried to run away from her.
Four of Pentacles. I opened up pretty quickly to it. Fantastic.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Four of Pentacles. Upright. You are holding on to people, possessions, situations, or past issues for a sense of security. We all do that a little bit. Perhaps in a possessive or toxic way, or someone may be holding on to you in such a manner. You need to establish your boundaries or respect the boundaries of other people. Be open to letting go. Holding on to things can lead to blocking progress and keeping yourself in a sense of isolation. Be careful not to become a prisoner to your own mental possessions. Ace of Pentacles. And interestingly, this last week, I have let go of persons in my past that were toxic in that way. And I finally got to a point where I was able to let them go.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
There's a song by the band called The Call, and the lyric, at least the main lyric is, all you hold on to is all that holds on to you. And I try to remember that, be it material, spiritual, psychological,
Yes.
what have you. So it's very true. As I have a toy here from 1970,
Right.
a Dinah that is older, that might be older than one, but
Okay,
she's
so
not a
Four of
Higgin tube, but
Four of Pentacles reversed. You feel ready to let go of people, past insecurity, possessions, and situations, shedding old issues or letting go of regrets and fears. You may feel generous and giving to others and sharing your wealth and resources. Be careful not to overspend, not to become careless about your money.
that's good advice in general.
That is good advice in general.
It's
The
like
Four
Sputnik.
of Pentacles.
His head's like Sputnik, vaguely round, but with odd pointy shapes all over it.
He's gonna cry himself to sleep on his huge pillow.
Oh, that was off size now, wouldn't it?
All right.
That's such a great movie. So,
What is our topic tonight?
there's a reason I'm wearing. Well, this is the only Spider-Man shirt I have at the moment, which is, of course, the Japanese.
That's
Spider-Man.
odd.
Yeah, I don't have I don't have a Batman or a Superman shirt. Or, shut up.
Someone needs to get on it and get you these T-shirts.
I don't need any more purple ones. I think I've got enough purple. We're going to talk about villains every so often. Historical villains, villains of literature, things like, because they get a lot. As someone who is generally considered not chaotic good, even as much as I want to presume myself as one, but someone who's justice good or whatever you call a goody two shoes. The villain, you have to have a good. Without conflict, there is no drama. You have to have a good villain to make a good
Balance.
Yeah.
Balance. You have to have good and evil.
The Lords of Order say so. The Lords of Order and Chaos. That's
So
Dr.
while we
Fate.
talk about the good, we also need to talk about.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. So, one of my favorite superheroes is obviously there were two. The first two I ever knew were Peter Parker,
Batman.
Spider-Man, and Adam West as
Batman.
100% grade A West as Batman. Now, I guess the next two would have been Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, but
Right.
different stories. So Spider-Man has always been in my life as long as I can remember, and I remember one of my earliest memories is watching Spider-Man and drooling on myself. Apparently, well, I'm sure it was, but watching it with my father. I don't have a lot of memories of him because he passed before I was 5, but I do remember watching Saturday morning cartoons, Spider, because he was a big nerd. Mom was the penny.
Even Mom says today that he was a big nerd.
Yes. So, but she sure liked him. But we watched Spider-Man cartoons. So I was not introduced to the comic book yet, though I'm sure my father knew about it because he bought me comic books. But one of my favorite, because I love Octopus, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains is Dr. Octopus. And we're going to do a little dive on him because we could go way into it and get into nonsense with the movies and the comics. And he's always been animated, but he was one of the original. He first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man #3, which was Spider-Man's 4th appearance.
Okay.
Because Amazing Fantasy 15. So his backstory is, they didn't have, in the 60s, comic books were very episodic. One story, done. One story, done. I mean, from the 40s to, say, the Fantastic Four, still 61, when Stan added soap opera elements and continued plot lines.
Right.
But if you read Superman, they would have an adventure, he'd be done, they'd forget about it, they'd do it again. Oh, Lex Luthor escaped from jail, I gotta put him back in jail. It's like, throw him into the sun and be done with him. Superman wouldn't do that because he's Superman. But, a real person eventually would have been like, I'm sick of you. So, Stan always tried to give his villains some pathos. Some reason for their being the way they are. And Doc Ock was a scientist who was grouchy. I would assume he would probably at least in his 50s by the time he showed up. I tried to find out exactly how old he was, and it's very that was a dead end. And that's me trying to find it out. So 1963 was his first appearance, Spider-Man #3. And I've read the story many times. He actually was the first villain to defeat Spider-Man because Peter got a little ahead of himself, thinking he was, he could beat anybody, and he did not. And that was his first identity, his first crisis as a superhero. And of all things, he got advice from the Human Torch, which they had he was, as Johnny Storm has become a frenemy of Peter's, mostly a friend these days because they're older now instead of being 16 and however old Johnny was. Well, he was driving 16. But Doc Ock, or Otto Octavius, was a scientist, a nuclear scientist, and in order to handle fissionable and dangerous radioactive material, he developed a chest plate that had 4 arms coming out of it.
From the back, yeah.
In the original ones,
Or
it
are
was
they from the side?
In the comic book, it was the side. I mean, they've adapted it since then and changed it many times. So the movie that you're familiar with Toby, I believe they came from the back because it was cybernetic. It went into his head. These were just controlled by, he had little controls so he could do it. And he mastered them, but he could work with it. But of course, there was an explosion. And Otto was not the kindest person. They've rewritten it. He had an abusive father and a mother who was an addict, etc. To give him some background. That's been the last 20 years or so, as far as I know. I haven't read new comic books in ages. What is your background with Otto?
So my background is, as far as Spider-Man goes, while I have a magnetic Spider-Man that floats around my house, I've only seen the first 2 Tobey Maguire movies. I've not seen any of the others. Now, I've seen the Marvel movies where Spider-Man has made an appearance, but it's the more recent Spider-Man, what's his name? Dating what's-her-face?
Zenobia.
Yeah, that guy.
Zendaya.
Uh-huh. So I'm my only familiarity with Dr. Octopus is from that second Tobey Maguire movie. Did I like the character? Yes, I did.
Well, the actor.
The actor is fantastic.
Yes,
but that truly is the only thing I know about the character.
That's pretty close. I mean, they took 40-ish years of Doc Ock and synthesized it, which is what they should do with all movies and television. Synthesize it into the best parts. So that's pretty close. The wife was added.
Okay.
He was not married, although they said that he tried to get married, but he put his career above her. But the wife was wonderful, and he is in the most excellent Spider-Man movie of time.
I did know that. I did see that all of the villains, all of the different Spider-Mans all come, and I knew he was in it. He's probably one of the reasons why I would want to watch it, because I did enjoy the villain, but I just haven't gotten around to actually watching it. But the next Spider-Man that I watch is going to be that one.
Not that I have it on Blu-ray or anything.
Right.
I've only seen it once because special movie. There's no quality. Thank you, Carlos. No, not at all. You have no idea the backstory with Spider-Man movies and me. None.
No.
And we're not getting into that. But
no, not
Alfred
this
Molina
episode.
is an amazing actor, and he does do. Anyway, so in Spider-Man 3, he defeats Spider-Man, literally, and he actually does it again when the next time he appears because Peter's an idiot and goes after him while he's sick. Unmasks him, and nobody believes Peter Parker could be Spider-Man because he's just a kid. But he is obviously was a favorite of Stan Lee's because when he appeared again, he founded the Sinister Six with 5 other supervillains, which was bound to end in disaster because they are so egotistical. Excuse me a moment. For some reason, I hate you.
This was your topic.
Yeah, I know. That wasn't because of that. It's because of Spider-Man. But for some reason, Aunt May in the original comics was portrayed as about 1,000 years old,
Yes.
which doesn't make any sense because if Peter's father, who is Ben's brother, that's the relationship there. Why would they be so much older? They couldn't have been. My aunts
No.
and uncles aren't that much older than my mom or younger.
Right.
So, but but Aunt May was Doc Ock or Otto could be and was very kind to Aunt May, that she thought he was just a wonderful man even if he had weird arms. So that was one of the fun things about it, was he was charming, he was polite, he did all the, he was very genteel. So I obviously Stan enjoyed writing him. He was created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. His first, and was obviously been one of the most, I have to stop saying obviously, but he's been an endearing Spider-Man foe. And he's been on the good side occasionally in recent comics that I've never read. But, Alfred Molina, the actor, gave him such a gravitas and humanity, which is what they needed. None of those movies, even Spider-Man 3, gave their villains, always gave them what Stan tried to do, was a spark of humanity that we could identify with.
Right.
So that's why, that's why they brought him back for No Way Home. And
I gotta let my dog out.
she's been way more mellow recently.
Well, I made sure to take her to the park we were there for about 40 minutes running around.
And she's obviously still in shock over watching her parents try to do it in front of her.
That too. But yeah, she had that excitement yesterday. So usually when she has that kind of excitement, whether she goes to play with Mama Harley in the backyard or she plays with the sweet boy at the park, the next day she is a little bit more calm. But if I don't still take her to the park, she's going to be absolutely crazy tomorrow. So I made sure to get her out, get her running today, so that at work she's not super crazy and getting into everything.
She is cornhole.
She
you
just
threatening
needs to
her?
run and play at least once a day. Sometimes we do it twice. So, okay, where were we?
I have no idea anymore. I don't know why you're asking me when I'm this awesome. I'm not going to remember most of this. Every time an episode comes out, I'm like, oh. I said that? Oh, that was really funny. I forgot the Ace of Wands thing completely.
Nice. So I do have a few questions
Excellent.
that I have come up with,
Please.
but I wasn't sure if you're done or not. Do we
I'm
need
done.
to rewind and go back? I don't even know
Nah.
how to do that.
No. Please ask your questions. Ask away.
So, Dr. Octopus, who was he? What did he do before he becomes the supervillain?
He was a nuclear research scientist working with fissionable materials in a nuclear plant. Hence, that's why he developed the prosthetic metal arms.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
He's
did he
brilliant.
have like creations that were used in the comic book that were other than his metal arms? Was there anything?
Occasionally, yes. He did, because he was a brilliant man. I mean, he's not as smart as Victor Von Doom or Reed Richards or Tony Stark, but brilliant. I mean, he was very nearsighted, so he had to wear glasses. So he's got these thick, those were generally Spider-Man would, in his first ones, would spray webs on him. But he figured out to do a resistant so that the webs would slide off. Surprising Peter once again, who thinks gets a little full of himself every once in a while.
Yes.
He's so brilliant. Brilliant people do that. They're kind of egotistical. In the crossover event of Marvel and DC with Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man, Otto had a flying octopus that he piloted around, which he and Lex. No, I don't think he and Lex, because he teamed up with Lex Luthor.
Okay.
So, but he was, he was very smart. He apparently at some point in time transferred his mind into Peter's body and did a whole Freaky Friday sort of thing. I believe they
Right.
Raj and Howard talk about that in or somebody talks about it in the Big Bang Theory because they're big nerds.
Yes. Yes.
I've not read it. So he's obviously very smart. He's not very athletically gifted, relying on
Okay.
the strength of his tentacles to batter people into submission because they're metal and they respond to his. Now he is in control in the comic book. He's in control of the tentacles. In that movie, you'll note they warp his mind and talk to you.
Yes.
Without spoilers.
It's
Ooh.
a long time.
Well, I know, but in the No Way Home,
Oh.
there's spoilers that I don't want to give you because
Okay.
it's so good.
Okay.
Anyway, next question.
So he becomes Dr. Octopus in a lab accident, right? Because
Right. 'Cause
That's
that
pretty
happened
common.
a lot. Yes.
so do you think his villainy was in him before, or do you think it was because of the lab accident?
I think that promoted he was, I did the research, and in recent years he's been shown to have the abusive parents, especially the father, and the mother was, I don't remember now. So he was not right. And if you look at when he was created in the 60s, that makes sense because he was grumpy, he was a loner, he wanted to do his research, and that was all he was about. But they didn't ever stand and give him a backstory because he was just a fun character to write as a villain. Except that him being charming to Aunt May,
Right.
which gave him a little more in depth that he knew society.
Yes.
So they don't really say it makes sense. I don't think you just turn evil because you get. I mean, you get caught in an explosion. So, I mean, if you know about go ahead.
I think it brings it out in somebody,
Yes.
not creates it. I think it's already in there. They just needed that trigger to wake it up.
Right. Yes, or the means to do it, and it probably warped his brain a bit. I mean, that's very common. It's such a cliche in comic books now.
Yes.
I mean, they've tried to. That's why they changed it in the movie to it was a lab accident, but he'd already stuck these things in his. They were implanted in him in the
Yes.
back there, so he could control them, and then they took over. So, was it him? Was it the tentacles that
So why is he considered one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies?
Well, he's been around. He's been around longer than the Green Goblin, the Scorpion, any of the Vulture. All of these that have, he was in the third appearance, and the first two Spider-Man. The first story in Amazing Fantasy was a short story, like 8 pages. That was it. A nondescript burglar who killed Uncle Ben. The second one, Amazing Spider-Man 1, he goes to the Fantastic Four to get a job. They have two. They have the Klingon or the Klingon. The
We know where your head is,
the
really.
chameleon, and another nondescript mad scientist who turned out to be an alien. The second one I don't remember, but I think he was rescuing J. Jonah Jameson's son. But they were still short, 2 stories in every book. This was the first full-length story, and really the first true supervillain, because the chameleon later on became more important. But he was like the first true supervillain Spidey ever faced and lost to. And again, he's charming. He can be very charming. So the villains that are charming are the most dangerous because they're super smart.
Yes.
That's when if they can charm you into thinking, well, maybe they're right. The Joker never tried to charm Batman.
No.
Lex could be charming, but he never tried to charm Superman. He tried to charm Clark, but that blew. He didn't know. So, that's when they're charming villains are the most dangerous, I think. I mean, and I think that's why he's just he's got 8 arms like Spider-Man's a spider. Spiders have
Yes.
8 arms. Octopus have 8 arms. I
It
think
works.
he's just been around so long that he's just he's grandfathered into being the upper echelon of Spider-Man foes.
So what
It's hard to
does,
come up with new ones.
and I'm not sure if they've ever gone into this, what does Otto think of Peter's idea of with great abilities comes great responsibility? How does Otto feel about that theme?
So, in the comic book, or in comics, they've described as Otto being, if Peter did not have supportive parents, he could have been Dr. Octopus without that, without caring parents. And granted, Aunt May and Uncle Ben were surrogate parents, but they were his parents.
Yes.
That's all there is to it.
Yes.
It's like Jonathan and Martha Clark
Yes.
were Superman's parents. Jor-El and Lara might have been his true parents, but they didn't raise him. So Doc Ock did not have good parents, did not have good role models. He turned out that way. Peter and Clark, and Bruce Wayne to an extent. There's a whole story. We can go into that for decades. But Peter and Clark both had good parental role models. So I think if Peter had said that to him, "You've got great power. You could be doing so much better. He could have been rich if he'd have marketed his arms alone as." I mean, that's a thing about supervillains is they get these powers, or they develop something to give them powers, and then they don't think,
Right.
I should patent this and make
Right.
money.
Right.
I'm just going to
They're
go. I'm
dumb.
going to use it to steal money right away. So something's missing there. But yeah, I don't know I don't know that they've ever had that discussion. I know that in recent years he's found out Peter was Spider-Man and was enraged because a teenager kept beating him. So it's an ego. I think there's a matter of ego with all supervillains, that they think they're better than they should, or that they're owed a living or something. Whereas
Right.
Superman, and I use Superman a lot, he is the most humble, and thank all the gods that Superman was raised the way he was and is humble and had a loving family, because he would take over the world.
Did
And
you
he-
ever see Brightburn? It's Superman as a child, but tapping into his evil side, not his Boy Scout side. And
Right.
I think they are in the makes of doing a Brightburn too. It is good. It
Well,
is good.
there's-
It is if, as a child, Superman uses his abilities for evil, and I like that because I like to see the opposite of what is
They-
the norm.
They have done that. There's an Elseworlds. They call it Elseworlds, the Nail, where Superman is not adopted by the Kents. There's Red Sun, where he lands in Russia, and in the cartoon series, he was brainwashed by Darkseid into thinking that he was Darkseid's son, and he sends him to go out and conquer the Earth. So they have explored that a lot, because you realize this guy, Superman's got the power of a god,
yeah.
and Spider-Man's got a lot of power too. And the whole thing about that great responsibility and power, it's so true. I mean, we see that enacted every day in this country at this point in time.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
no responsibility with great power. Be that as it may. Be that as it may. So, as far as what Otto, I think if his mind is clear, if it's, because if you do have brain damage, sometimes you have clarity and sometimes you don't. And I think that with the accident, you have brain damage. But
Right.
I believe, there are parts where he wants to become a better person. There are stories about that, which I would be interested in reading, probably. It's just, I just can't There's
Yeah.
just so much. You can only read so much, and I've got dinosaur stuff to read.
Do you think his intelligence made him more dangerous as a supervillain over just physical strength?
Oh yeah, I mean, as Sheldon Cooper said, it's amazing how many comic book villains have advanced degrees.
Right.
Now Lex Luthor was never got a doctorate, but whatever
A
happened,
lot of them do.
yes, many of them. I mean, they retconned Harry Osborn into being a doctor in the movies, but so many of them are smart, and being smart is your greatest strength and also your greatest weakness because you think you're smarter than everybody else. And again, as I mentioned, Peter sometimes falls into that trap himself, and
Yes.
some of us who do know everything are always annoyed by those of the people who think they do. But
Do you think he could have been a superhero under different circumstances?
oh, sure, sure. I
What do
mean,
you think those circumstances would be that would change the outcome to being a superhero versus a villain?
Well, they did a superior Spider-Man and superior Octopus storyline in, I don't know, recent years, where he tries to redeem himself and becomes more of a hero, or even more of an anti-hero, I suppose, where he's doing the right thing, not because he really wants to, but because he almost has to. And I've not read it. I can't speak as to the validity of it, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, any villain that has a successful... I don't know how much you've watched pro wrestling, but when you have the bad guy who's bad and everyone hates him, and then another bad guy shows up, and he's like, and somehow they get crosshairs with each other.
Yeah.
You will cheer for the home bad guy and turn him into a good guy because he's our bad guy. He's our asshole.
Yes, he's our asshole, so
Yeah.
we need to keep our asshole winning.
And that happens in football with
Yes.
various jerks who play football, and we're like, well, he's our jerk, so we gotta love him. But
Yes,
if he goes to another team, we're gonna hate him immediately.
yes,
So that sort of thing, I think that, I mean, it's fun to watch. That slow, if they do it correctly, the slow turn from, okay, I'm a bad guy, but I don't want him to hurt kids. I don't want him to hurt old women.
yes.
I mean, if someone goes after Aunt May, I'm going to come after him because she's
Yeah.
she's a wonderful woman, and she always saw the good in me. She's maybe the only one. And then he's like, well, you hurt her. You're not just going to answer to Spider-Man. You're going to answer to me.
Right,
And
right.
he would be way scarier. I would not
Yes.
want. Yes, I mean, much like Charming. Charming is their to trick you, but their intelligence is that they can go out and they can build stuff, they can do stuff.
I think if villains have the opportunity to become the hero, I think what made them the villain makes them a better judgmental superhero. They're not going to not do something because of feelings. They're going to let that, and they're going to logically think through it and be a better superhero. They are better off as the villain because as the villain, you don't have, in general, more regulations to stick by.
You'll let people die.
Superheroes always have a code. Villains,
Unless
they
you're
just do
Wolverine.
what they want. But if the villains become the superheroes, I think they still have that, I'm going to do what I want. They're not going to have that. It's just going to be a more active superhero, I think.
Almost more proactive.
Yes.
Reactive.
Yes.
It's true. I mean, that's why people, they have to. They are, in wrestling, they almost when a heel, as they say, becomes popular, you got to turn him into, because everyone's cheering him.
Right.
So you got to figure out, okay, who's going to do him dirty.
Yes.
The same thing with in comic book and it's in soap operas. Remember when Jack turned face because draw the little blonde's name, but he
Marlena?
fell in love, huh?
Marlena?
No, the little Jack. Jack. Patch's little brother, who was a villain,
Yeah.
and then he turned in, and then when he found out who he was related to, him and Adrian, and the little blonde Jenny, and they had so much chemistry that it's like, okay, now he's gonna turn
Now
good.
he's got to be a good. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, even Patch was a villain when
Right.
because they get popular. You go, okay, we can't keep him.
Keep
being
him
a
as a
creep.
bad guy.
Can't be creeping on Kayla all the time.
So we all know Stefano, and Stefano always maintained his
And-
villain status,
but even-
which we love about Stefano, though.
And Victor Kiriakis actually turned into a good guy because
Yeah.
he was so charming, even though he gave birth to Rachel.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gotten into the weeds with soap operas, and I suppose we are going to have to talk about Days of Our Lives at some
We
point.
will. But I do have one last question.
Okay.
If you had the mechanical arms like Dr. Octopus, what would you do with them?
I would not do what Howard did with a robot arm.
Are you sure? I
Relatively.
mean, once is
I only have-
understandable. Twice, like Howard did?
I mean, massage, probably. Yeah, that would work.
That's
But that other
clearly,
thing,
yeah.
we don't have a code for a robot hand stuck to a man's penis. Which
You
is
know,
now two
honestly,
episodes.
sometimes I wish I had two more arms and hands because as I'm carrying things, so it's for me living in the apartment that I do, it is a long walk from my parking spot
Oh.
in the parking structure, up a floor, down a long hallway, down another long hallway into my apartment. So a super light bag that's like half a pound. By the time I leave my car, walk up to my apartment, it feels like it's 50 pounds. Because that just happens the longer you hold something. So for me, I always think, my goodness, I want an arm for this, an arm for this, an arm for this. And then I can still have a free arm to hold my dog's leash instead of carrying everything
Or,
being held down.
so Doc Ock in the comics, the tentacles are extendable to a certain degree, but you could actually, use them to walk with while you just relax and let them go up. You don't even have to take an elevator. They can just climb up the wall while you get into your back door. Or
Like,
they
see-
can hold the leash for your crazy dog.
I don't even have to be a supervillain to enjoy these arms. I just know on a daily basis what I would use these extra arms for because, my gods, it would come in so handy every single day.
And if they were laser equipped, you could zap people that annoyed you.
Yes.
Or at least
And I need that
or at least
too.
stun them. Pew pew pew. Yeah, I think walking would be the best thing. Except then
It would.
no wonder he's pudgy. He never walks anywhere.
Right. He doesn't have to walk anymore.
So yes, and in this picture here, Doc Ock's a ginger, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think Alfred Molina was a ginger, but I'll have to watch again. I don't watch the Spider-Mans a lot because I have such a
You don't want to overkill it.
and I have such an intensive connection. And once again, I'm leaving out a story about the first one with Tobey Maguire on purpose. That was
Yes.
that first viewing was rough because I knew it was going to happen. Everything. Because
Yeah.
I'm a big, Spider-Man fan. It's like with Iron Man. I knew everything. I knew who the villain was in the first Iron Man movie. It was right there in the front of it.
Yeah.
But that's because of decades of reading comic books.
Yes.
Well, that went a little longer than I thought it might. You might have split this into two.
We'll see what I can do and cut out, and if I need to make it into two, we'll make it into two.
It's fine with me, but excellent questions. This was fun, and I'm glad that you had questions because I did not want to talk for an hour by myself. And I could.
Yes, I know you could, but
I
I did
can't
want to be a part of it,
pontificate.
and I did have some questions.
And thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, shall we wrap it up?
Yes,
We'll have some food.
yes, I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. And it's time, Luann.
It is time, Luann.
So, At some point, we're going to have to explain that particular statement
We
now.
will have to explain it.
Because that's a good episode.
It'll make
All
so
right.
much more sense.
Our wonderful and lovely Hellions and wonderful, exceptional agents. I am X7. You've learned a lot more about Doc Ock and me than I ever wanted you to. I'll be signing off with my wonderful co-host, the ever-enlightening Lilith Draco.
Bye.
Be seeing you.
Bless be. Commit to the bit.
I got beer.
I got bottled breast milk.
Why don't we start with the beer?
Okay.
So you like the beer?
I do. Although it's actually a lager.
Huh. What's the difference between beer and lager?
I don't know. We could look it up.